What's up, y'all? This is Osirez PC Pimp doing a Black Mesa review for Linux Game Consortium. So let's take a look at the game. Half-Life, if you don't know by now, is the cornerstone of PC gaming. It is the thing that got Steam started. It is the must of all the must plays if you're a PC gamer. Except for there's an issue with that. Half-Life is extremely dated, especially compared to its sequel, Half-Life 2, which is actually very playable by today's standards, at least visually and all that. But Half-Life 1 really didn't age that well. You know, it's all wrinkled and pruned and pretty ugly to look at. So Crowbar Collective, a bunch of devs come together, you know, to rescue Half-Life 1. They put the shine back on it, put some new sounds in it, re-added back in some of the levels that were lost or taken out from the original game, and pretty much remade the entire game front to back, top to bottom. And then they even put the new source engine in that adds some new physics. I believe it's called the Havoc physics engine, and all kinds of cool stuff, making the almost unplayable Half-Life 1 now the playable Black Mesa. Black Mesa, although it's completely redone though, it's still the original gameplay more or less. So you're not losing, you're only gaining. But let me get this out the way up front. I played the original Half-Life way back when, late 90s, probably early 2000s. Played it, but I don't remember beating it, and that was a long time ago, and I got a bad memory. So the way I'm going to look at this game is almost like a fresh game that is taken from a predecessor. So let's get into the graphics. The graphics are not, by anybody's definition, a cutting edge or state of the art. You're just not going to compare it to any contemporary game. But on the other hand, it's still pretty stunning. It's definitely good enough that when you're playing the game, you'll actually stop to, even if you don't stop, you'll definitely find yourself admiring the visuals and the graphics that Crowbar Collective put in here. Some parts are really good. But on the other hand, there are some models like the walls and the fences and, you know, some other architecture that looks kind of out of place. It's almost as if they didn't upgrade everything, or maybe they did start way back. 'Cause I believe this game was in an 8-year development cycle. And so maybe they started some things and just never finished them. It just seems like some of the set pieces or some of the architecture, like walls and ground and stuff, did not get these higher resolution textures, while other pieces did, which is pretty easily noticed once you get through the parts of the game. You'll notice it right out the gate. But at the end of the day, you know, the texture stuff aside, it's definitely no showstopper. I like to consider myself a graphics whore, and this game definitely satisfies in the graphics department with its excellent use of colors and environmental effects and all kinds of stuff going on here. It's just a really good game to look at. As for the sound is pretty well represented. Environments have all the buzzes and hums you expect from a research facility, and somebody did. I don't know if it was the original Valve team or it was this Crowbar team, but the stereo separation and the ambient space sense of space is really well done. You know, you slap on a good pair of headphones, and whatever environment you're in, you just by audible cues, you feel like you're in that environment. So if you're in a hallway, the audible cues make you feel like you're in that hallway. If you're in a larger open space, the reverb that's inserted in there gives it a very good sense of space, which I think is really important as the graphics, because that's the other part of the equation. But then there's, just like the graphics, there's some parts that seem to be neglected. Like when you walk across the metal grates on the floor, they almost sound like the original sound effects. I don't know. This game had a long development cycle. That might be in part due to that. So who knows? But you know, there's deep subwoofer explosions and other nuances and the spatial quality of the environments that you're getting through of the levels that you're getting through that make up for it. So, the sound is definitely a thumbs up. As for the music is weird. I don't know why they did this. I don't know if it's incomplete. But just like a lot of other games, the music is initiated by events in the game. So as you come to the end of a level, or as you're starting a new level, you get, music starts playing, which is fine and good. Except for in between those times, there's absolutely no music. No sounds except for the sound effects. And then all of a sudden you get this, the music just starts playing out the blue, which is cool, except for the music almost never matches the feel of the game or what's going on in the game. It's really jarring and out of place. And the worst part about the whole thing is that the music is actually really good. The music is well composed, well written, sounds good. It's just good music, but it's just random, and it just starts out of nowhere seemingly and stops out of nowhere, and you want to hear more of it. Matter of fact, I wish they just played the soundtrack throughout the game or something. I don't know. It just feels odd the way they implemented the music part. So I'm not that impressed with how they did the music, even though I think the music itself is good. On to the gameplay. The gameplay should be familiar to anyone who's ever played video games at all, really. It's your standard first-person shooter affair. Start out a level, solve some puzzles, kill some enemies, move right along throughout the level till you get to the end. It's trying to survive. As far as the story goes, and something happens like in a top secret research facility. I'm trying not to spoil it all for you. I'm not going to give you any of the key details, but like I said, there's really not much of a story here anyways. But yeah, something happens in this research facility that makes you open up a corridor or a portal to a place where there's, I guess they're monsters or aliens. I don't really even know what they are. But something that wants to kill you. And then you find a hazardous material suit, which at first would make no sense, but game logic. So the hazardous material suit is actually power armor in some case. And I don't know how. Like I said, I didn't pay attention to the story. I don't know how they came from hazardous material to power armor, but whatever. Now you're like a super dude. So now you're equipped with this power armor, and then you find some guns, and then you kill some enemies, and somehow you're now the king of the nerds, or the hero of all the nerd scientists in this research facility, because you're kicking ass and taking names with hazardous material suit. Yeah, so that's how it pretty much goes. It's kind of weird. I don't know. I don't even know if story is supposed to be important in this game, or is it just, if it just kind of a backdrop to move the game along. But that's what it kind of seems like. But it works fine in the context of what you're doing here. At no point was I actually interested in even the plot twists, or I don't even think, I was never interested in the plot twist or whatever was going on with the plot, to be honest. There's lots of voice acting in here where you'll run into people who will be talking to you, giving you information, and I find them to be boring. Matter of fact, every once in a while, I'll just shoot them in the face. Yes, you can kill them too. So there's that. And for controls, are standard affair. Like this, this is based on an older game, so nothing should be new here. Nothing should not work here because everything has already been done here, and it's just being mastered, we'll say. So the controls are fine. Shouldn't have any issues with that. Performance, game works fine. This is based off Source Engine. Anybody who plays Linux games probably already knows that the Source Engine, the engine created and developed by Valve, is by far the best performing engine on Linux out of the engines that we have a choice from. So, as a matter of fact, it was so good that I had to actually put on VSync and limit my frames per second, because it was just running full speed at 300 frames per second the entire time I was playing the game on my GTX 780. So it runs so good I had to tell it, take that seat. So on the performance, it's a big check. Now, is this game worth it? Well, let me give you a little bit of information first. Black Mesa is an early access game, and there's always something to an early access game. So let's talk about the catch. what is it that you're not getting? In comparison to the original Half-Life 1, there's 4 levels. The 4 last levels are not in the game at all. Nowhere to be seen, not there. You just don't get them yet. But I will also say that I put in 25 hours of this game getting to that part. So there's not like there's a lack of content. You're just not getting the entire game yet. According to, I think, their blog, they have the next level coming out, which is called Zen, to be released in the summer of 2017. So they are still rolling out content. Yes, it is early access. And yes, it is in development. That might be a little off-putting to people who are actually purchasing the game, though. So that's your caveat emptor, warning, buyer beware, so on and so on. So the asking price is $20, which I think is pretty fair concerning the amount of content you get. I mean, it's 20 plus hours of gameplay already, plus 4 more redone levels coming soon. I believe there's modding that you can do to this game. This is a legit and proper PC game, and you're getting it for $20. Still fun, still enjoyable. Everything seems to be there. Nothing show-stopping that makes you say, what the hell is going on here? Why is the performance suck? Why is the level suck? Why is this part of the game suck? Why is it so horribly broken? None of that is in here. You're not getting an entire game. Well, I'm going to say that you're missing 4 levels, but what you are getting is intact and working beautifully. And I'll also say, if you've never played Half-Life 1, I would say, I know some people are going to say that this is blasphemous, but I would say skip Half-Life 1. Just get Black Mesa. It's definitely an excellent substitute for the original game. You'll get the gist of the story or what's going on. Definitely identical damn near gameplay and everything else. So play Black Mesa, then play Half-Life 2, and you'll be caught up. And if they ever release Half-Life 3, yeah, then you'll already have played the previous 2 games. And, unlike Half-Life 1, Black Mesa won't leave that late 90s taste in your mouth. Nobody wants that late 90s taste in their mouth. Just trust me. But anyways, that was my look at Black Mesa. And at the end of the day, very good game. Very good game. If you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Osirez. You can go to my website also. That's osirez.tech. That is, once again, Osirez.tech. And thank you, Linux Game Consortium, for allowing me to review Black Mesa. This is Osirez, PC Parent. I'm out.